Hey YouTube, I'm back with another look at Starfield. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at an Radeon 2 flagship GPU. So this is going to be a look at the RX 6950 XT. This is the reference card, which is still available at Micro Center if you're in North America. So we're going to be taking a look at how the game runs at 1440p, because I think for a $650 graphics card, 1440p would be the target resolution. I think 4K is a little bit too much. But you can see 1440 with Ultra preset. We will look at 100% render scale in a little bit, because I know a lot of people always ask about that. But as I said in previous comparison videos, the graphics preset is always using FSR2 because the game was designed with FSR2 in mind for the anti-aliasing and the internal resolution scaler. So with that being said, let's run through New Atlantis, because this is a really good mix of CPU bound scenarios and still being relatively GPU bound. So you can see in New Atlantis, we are still pegging the GPU close to 100%, and that's kind of what you want to see. If the GPU is dipping down to like 60%, 70%, then you know that you have a heavy CPU bottleneck. The CPU itself is a Ryzen 9 7950X3D because it is touted as the recommended CPU from Bethesda for running the game at high resolution and ultra details. So, as you can see here, the 6950 XT, when paired up with the 7950X3D, is able to run the game well above 60 at all times. In fact, this GPU in particular, at 1440p Ultra, runs the game very similar to a 7900 XTX at 4K Ultra and an RTX 4090 at 4K Ultra. So this GPU is able to give us the exact same performance, a bit at a lower resolution, so at 1440p. So now what we'll do is we will test 100%. So we're going to turn off dynamic and we're going to set this to 100 so we can look at native 1440p. And as you can see here, the 6950 XT is still able to maintain right around 60 frames per second in New Atlantis at native resolution. Now it does dip down when we get into a scenario here where there's a lot of players running around, or a lot of NPCs running around. But you can see at 100% it is on the cusp of being right around 60 frames per second. So that's what it's like at 100% scaling. But again, I really think that the game was designed to follow the presets, so to speak. So at Ultra, it's able to maintain a playable frame rate while barely looking that different from native resolutions. Okay, now we're on a planet, or we're actually on the moon Titan that orbits Saturn in the Sol system. So now, as I've done with all my other comparison videos where I test GPU performance, we're on Titan now to look at a GPU bound scenario. So now you guys can see we are able to run the game when we are fully dependent on the GPU, where there's not a lot of AI or other NPCs around to take up cycles from the CPU. We're now able to see how the game runs. So this is at Ultra preset. So now we're going to test, and you can see it's able to maintain above 60 frames per second on 1440p Ultra at all times. Now if we try to go to 100%, turn off dynamic, so 100% now, and let's see how it does. So it's still holding above 60, although it is a little bit lower. But you can see it's still playable at 1440, although there are a lot of dips. See, like right here. So it's kind of hard to explain because I don't see a lot of NPCs that would introduce a CPU bottleneck. The CPU itself is actually only like 15% utilization. So it's an interesting game in terms of how demanding it is, but you're still able to play the game at native resolution 1440p on a 6950 XT without too much trouble. So having said all of that, I still kind of think the way to play this is on Ultra, but that's just me. I feel like you don't really need, with this GPU, you don't really need to drop it down to high. It stays above 60 at all times on Ultra. So that's going to be a look at how Starfield runs at 1440p Ultra and 1440p native on a 6950 XT and a 7950 X3D. So you guys found this video useful, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.